Hello everyone and welcome to the DeHart house. My name is Alicia and I'm your host of this crafty channel here on YouTube. It's the middle of August 2024 and it's a unique chilly day outside. It's been in the high 70s into the 80s pretty frequently, but today it's super cool. So I have a sweatshirt on and we have the windows open in the house and we're letting some fresh air in, so it's really nice. Cloudy day, no rain. It's forecasted maybe we'll get some next week, but I don't know. So I've been doing a lot of watering in the garden because it's been hot and dry, and I have tomatoes and sunflowers and some squash, and I've just been making sure that they've had lots of water to keep growing through the hot times of the year, which is when they like to be growing. Yeah, so I have a finished object and some works in progress to share with you. I thought it would be nice to do a little check-in mid-month instead of waiting till the end of the month. We're also doing a bunch of cleaning in the house, like organizing and getting rid of things that we haven't used in, since we moved into this house, or we've replaced an item with a new one, let's get rid of the old one, sort of thing. So the house is in disarray, and definitely my craft room is in an unusable state right now because it's holding on to things that don't have a place to go right now, and so we're clearing out space to put them. So I'm out in the dining room again. Like I said, we have the windows open. I did close the one closest to me to try to reduce traffic noise, but I apologize for the extra sounds. So I do actually have something finished, and no, it's not a garment. As much as I would love to have finished a garment by now, that has not happened. But I have finished some crochet items. So these are scrubbies for the kitchen. The downside to living in a city is that you get traffic noise when you open the windows. When we have the windows shut, it's actually pretty well insulated, but yeah, so this is Stitch Soak Scrub. It's 100% nylon, and I purchased this at Hobby Lobby. I usually wait for a week that they have yarn on sale. And I got two colors. One of them, the purple color, is called Plum, and I cannot locate the tag for this turquoise color at the moment, but it's a aqua turquoise kind of color. And so I have finished 4 of these. So I got 3 scrubbies from one ball, and then I have a little bit left over. And so out of the Plum, this one's completely finished. This one I need to weave in the ends, but I just finished this morning. And this is how much I still have left to make a 3rd one. And I've shown this yarn before, but in case you weren't around for that episode, it is, I'm trying to get it to focus. It is a chain style yarn, so it's not plied nylon, it's chained, which is nice because when you cut the end, it doesn't just unravel. But I like this material because it's not that eyelash style yarn that's really hard to see your knitting or crochet through. So it's a little easier to see the stitches when I'm working. It's not as easy as using cotton or wool yarn, but it's easier than working with eyelash yarn. I also like that when we use the scrubbies, it doesn't leave particles on the cutting boards. So when we use the regular green scrubby sponges from the store, the green scrubby sponges, when they start to break down, leave green particles, especially on the cutting boards where they have a lot of that rough texture from where the knives have cut up the surface, and it just makes me not want to use that cutting board because it has we washed it, but now it's dirty with sponge particles. So anyway, and these I made some scrubbies before, and I throw them in the washing machine with the load of towels, and I don't run them through the dryer. I just leave them out to air dry, but yeah, so I can wash them and reuse them, and it's nice. And so you might notice last time I made round ones, and this time I engineered a square version. So I am getting a spam call, hang on. So I'm going to write up this. I made some notes for myself on how I did this, but I'm going to write up my pattern and make it available somehow. I still need to work out all those details, but yeah, it is double thick and very squishy, so your finger's not going to poke through to the other side, which is good. So yeah, this only took out maybe a little over 100 yards from my stash. Each of these is 92 yards each ball, and like I said, I've still got a little bit of the turquoise left over and haven't quite gotten through the purple yet, but we needed more scrubbies in the kitchen, so that's the only thing I finished. If my memory serves me, last time I was actively working on the Cumulus Tee by Petite Knit, and I had made a really great progress and went and said something like, I really hope it's not too big when I try it on. And it is, it's way too big. It's way too big, so I've taken it off the needles. What you would think would be the problem is gauge, but I am actually getting the correct gauge or something really close to it. So I don't understand what's happening. I do know the pattern is written for like 100% silk or something, and I'm using 100% cotton, so it is different. But yeah, I don't know. So I have not completely ripped it out yet because I need to decide, do I want to use the same needle size? Like, am I happy with this fabric as is and just read a smaller size off the pattern? Or would I like to go down a needle size and then maybe only go down one size on the pattern? I don't know. Analysis paralysis. It's too many decisions right now. So it's been set aside, but yeah, the armhole is much bigger than it's supposed to be. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a generous armhole, but the V-neck is super low. Yeah, so anyway, that makes me very sad because I had made so much progress on this, but oh well. So yeah, that's currently a flop right now. Well, it's time to switch to my other t-shirt on the needles, because this one I just tried on and it's too big. It's supposed to have up to 3.5 inches of positive ease, and this is definitely like 6 or 7. So yeah, that's a bummer. This V-neck is also very deep. I'm wearing my V-neck t-shirt underneath. Yeah, I'm gonna switch projects and think about this. So the Cumulus tee is one of the items on my summer making list. So each season this year, I'm making a list coordinated around that season. So garments or items that I would associate with summer or spring or winter are things I've put on those lists. The Cumulus tee is one of the items on my summer making list. It's not even on the stove anymore. It's not even on a back burner. It's like off the stove right now. Not happening until I make some decisions. Another item on my summer making list is the Luminous Tee by Yamagara. I think I said that right. And okay, so it's an interesting construction, which is why one of the reasons I chose this pattern, but also knit too big. So I ripped back. So you knit 2 triangles, and those triangles, which are down here and down here, all right, make up that bottom edge of the garment and come up, the triangle tips come up the side, okay? So yeah, they were too big. So when I joined them together and measured around, it had more ease than what I wanted in my garment. So I ripped them out, and this is significantly less knitting than the Cumulus tee. So I found it easier to go ahead and start this one over and save the Cumulus tee for after I finish this one. They're both using fingering weight yarn. The Luminous tee calls for US size 4 needles, which is what I was using. And I was getting close to gauge, but it was off enough. It was off. So I went down a needle size to US 3. US 3s are what I was using for my Cumulus tee. So I took the needle out, brought it over to this project, and what I did is I knit, so I ripped it out, re-knit the 2 triangles, and because I had ripped out the yarn, you know, it's a little wobbly. So for the sake of sizing, like measuring and sizing, you know, is it now a good size? But also because I had ripped out the yarn and reused it, I decided to block those 2 triangles close to the size they're supposed to be before joining and moving on with the project. And so I think, so blocking along the way is something I did with my Solidago tee in the spring, and it was super helpful to get the correct sizing of the garment. So I feel like it's helping here as well. So maybe that's just a practice that I need to, that would benefit me if I would use that as a regular practice when I make garments, is just blocking along the way. So you can see that I've made wonderful progress, and it's coming along nicely. So I'm to the point where the front and back are split for the armhole. This is very much a bottom-up construction. So I've got one needle is active with the stitches, the other one is just holding them for now. And yeah, so the yarn that I'm using, so the main color is this beautiful charcoal. This is from Cloudborn Fibers. It's 100% Highland wool, I believe. And then I didn't bring the ball with me because it's not attached, but the colorful bit is some of my hand spun. And I forgot to look it up again, what composition these fibers are, but I bought 2 different colorways from the same dyer, and I spun them together as a 2-ply. So 1 ply in one of the colors, the other ply in the other color, and then I plied them together, and I got this beautiful ocean themed colorway. So currently at this point, the back and the front are the same. They follow the same pattern instructions. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna have to, I don't know, I have to read ahead in the pattern. I don't know if the back and front finish differently. I'll have to look at the neckline. But I might have to decide which one is the back and which one is the front. I don't know, I was leaning towards this as the front, but now I'm not so sure because they both look really good. I don't know, they both look really good. Yeah, so it is pretty close. I think it's just the right, you can't see me holding this up to my body, but I think it's a good size for me. I did add more rows for under the arm down to the waistline. So it is written into the pattern, like, and if you need to add more length, do it here, which was very helpful. So I did do that. But the armhole, I've had to reduce the number of rows because I'm actually, if I were to keep knitting the number of rows needed, this armhole would be way too big. So, but I think part of that has to do with the, I'm mixing commercial and hand spun yarn, and hand spun isn't, you know, as consistent as commercial yarn. So there's that whole thing going on. But this project is very fun now that it's gonna be the right size. But I'm getting close to the point. I'm gonna finish the front panel. I'm only about 4 rows away from finishing it. And then I'm gonna do another block. And then I'll do some measurements, make sure I'm kind of matching up with what will fit me and where I am in the pattern. And so the next step will be actually joining the 2 halves back together again and working up through the shoulder into the neckline. So I'm hopeful that I can finish this by the end of the month. She says questioningly, because things haven't worked out as planned so far, so why would they start doing it now? Anyway, yeah, so the Luminous Tea, I'm making good progress on. Cumulus Tea is going to have to be ripped out, but I need to make decisions on how to restart it. I do think going down a needle size would probably be good, but I don't know. While my Luminous Tea has been like blocking, and I'm not able to work on it. I have been picking up the crochet scrubbies, but also a pair of socks. So this is the second sock, and I've made it past the heel, and I'm knitting down the leg, and it's going very smoothly. Which is nice, is when my garments are making me frustrated and I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I can always go back to sock knitting and kind of regain my confidence and put those other projects in timeout until I can make decisions, or just knit on it while it's blocking. But yeah, so these are being knit out of, the main color is from Premier Yarns, and the contrast is from Hobby. This was one of the Black Friday sock yarns. It is a very, very dark blue, and it is hard on the eyes. So we recently did a little rearranging with some of our furniture, and now there is a lamp, not that lamp, a different lamp, right beside the couch. So I can sit in that spot right by the lamp, and the lighting super helps. We do have lighting in that room, like lights in the ceiling, but they're in front of you, and I really need the light to be behind me. So the lamp has been very helpful with that, but just so folks know, like, oh my god, it's a really nice dark blue. It's really hard to work with because it's hard for me to see my stitches, and I did have to rip back a little bit because I had made a mistake. So earlier this year I went to a fiber event. What was it called? I don't remember, but it featured mostly aimed at spinners and people who work with fiber. There were sheep and llama and alpacas and rabbits and goats and animals there, which was really cool. So the fiber that I purchased, I have been soaking out in the backyard, trying to take advantage some of the heat that's out there. So I put the wool in a Tupperware, big Rubbermaid, whatever container in the yard, fill it up with water, let it soak up the heat of the day, and then drain it out and then start over. And so it's been out there for at least a week, going through washes. Now I have it out there drying, and it will come in for a deeper wash with some actual soap. So I'm working on that, but leaning into my overstuffed craft room this morning, I was like, man, I really want to do some spinning. So we've been, like I said, doing a lot around the house, fixing up things with our camper, cleaning and organizing the garage, just, you know, getting things done that are easier to do in the summer when the weather's nice and we're not working. So I was like, I really want to take today off of doing some of those things because I'm sore, my body's tired. I think I need a day to rest and rejuvenate. And I leaned in my craft room and I saw this. And yeah, so this is some, I think it's the last of the Shetland wool that I had. And I dyed this purple. And it's beautiful. I like the bit of variation, so I'm going to be mixing this in. So this morning I was playing around and I made one little like roll-egg kind of thing. And so I think that's what I'm going to do, is prep this fiber in these really loose Rolex and then spin it up at some point. And yeah, I don't know. I'm going to let the fiber kind of tell me if it wants to be a fingering weight yarn or DK or what. But I can totally see a squirrel in the backyard, and so can Marjorie. So that's what's going on here. Lots of projects that we've been putting off for the year, things that need to be cleaned and repaired and organized. And not too much crafting. I mean, crafting's still happening, but it's not like I'm sitting around all day long just crafting. I see that there are folks out there on YouTube who are getting excited for fall, planning for fall, and I say good for you, but I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for fall yet. So I teach for a living, and I'm not ready to go back to school yet. So I'm going to keep enjoying the summer. I've been spending a lot of time out in my garden. Currently, I feel like a gardener who knits. Previous to this year, I felt more like a knitter who gardens. So I've been doing a lot more gardening than I have been knitting. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just kind of fun. But yeah, so until the next time I see you, definitely at least by the end of the month, because I'll have to update you on everything I made this month. But I hope you stay safe, stay healthy, and that you enjoy your crafts, whatever they may be. Bye.